Can I say that we need brakes in the car to speed up? Would you agree with me if I say that? Agree?
Yes,
Professor agrees. The lady over there says no. Okay, how much time do you take to drive from Jalpaiguri to Siliguri? 1 hour, right? And his car has brakes. Tomorrow I will remove the brakes from his car. So how much time do you take now? So we say brakes help us. Brakes actually slow down, but in reality, the absence of brakes actually slowing us down, isn't it? So brakes actually help us speed up. What about misfortune in our life? Is positive or negative? What is misfortune in our life? We need it, isn't it? Let me share with you the story of two sales guys. The sales guys were working for a shoes company. And the company airlifted one of the sales guys and dropped that guy in an island. And the company said, look, you have to go and sell our shoes of a company in that island. The first day the sales guy was roaming around all over the island. Second day he was again roaming all over the island, but he was not looking for customers, he was looking for a post office. He finally found a post office. He sent a telegram to his company. I don't know if you relate to telegrams because we don't use that anymore, but those days they used to send telegrams. And then the sales guys writes to his company, to his director of sales, sir, take me back immediately from this island because nobody in this island is wearing shoes. Nobody. Nobody. Take me back. What kind of misfortune this is? I am so unfortunate that my company has sent me to this place. He was feeling sad, miserable, and he was feeling that he is very, very unfortunate. The next day, the company sent the other sales guy, right? They airlifted and dropped him there. They told him we have to go and sell shoes in that island. And the man in the first day was roaming around all over the island. He looked very excited, very happy. Second day he was again roaming around. He was looking for a post office. Finally he found one. And he sent a telegram to his company, to the director of sales. Sir, send me all the shoes that we have in our godown. In this island, nobody is wearing shoes. Nobody. Send all the shoes that we possibly have in the godown. I am so very fortunate to be in this island. Mr. Director Sales, thank you very much for sending me here. So, the story of two sales guys tells us about fortune and misfortune. It is the way we look at it, the way we define, as Professor Santanu Chakravarti was saying, Sutanu Chakravarti was saying that it is the way you define your state of affairs. It is the way you define where you are, what situation you are in, what you are doing, and so on. But all of you now agree that after this brakes in the car example, that we need brakes, we need misfortune in our life to grow and evolve. So the important thing about misfortune is not about avoiding misfortune. It's about overcoming it, right? The key is not about running away. Key is not about saying, let misfortune come but I will keep away from it. That's not going to help us. What is going to help us is the ability to deal with misfortune and overcome it, achieve victory over it. What happens in the process? What happens in the process when we overcome misfortune? What happens to the caterpillar which becomes a butterfly? What is the process it goes through? Change. Very difficult change, isn't it? It can say it is misfortune for me, right? Professor Sutanu Chakravarti was talking about He was giving the example of Steve Jobs. You know, one can say it is difficult, it is challenging, I will keep away. But the moment you face those challenges, you actually transform yourself. Like the caterpillar becomes a beautiful butterfly. Right?
Become skillful.
Sorry?
Skillful. You become skillful.
You become skillful, you become wise, you become more competent, you become confident, you become more efficient, and so on. So that's why probably we need to see that we have to actually try and overcome misfortune. Sometimes you succeed, sometimes we learn. The causes of misfortune can be external, like an external event, an accident, rains outside. It can be death of a family member, it can be some event which is external to us. It can also be internal, right? There could be plenty of internal causes as well. If you can see this picture here, have you ever been to a circus?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Right. You see the gigantic elephants, right? And if you happen to go there in the morning when the show is not on, you will find these elephants are tied to chains, right? The elephant has a huge leg, right? It has a huge leg. It is tied to a small little pole, iron pole, with a very thin chain. Elephant is a gigantic animal. And the chain, if it wants, it can just snatch it and walk away, right? But the elephant never does that. Do you know why? Any guess? Why the elephant doesn't do that?
At the,
Mentally
be-
blocked. Psychological impact.
at the beginning, he could not snatch that one.
The baby elephant, from its infancy, and then from, when it was just a baby elephant, the master of the elephant used to tie one leg of the elephant with a chain with an iron pole. And of course, at that point in time, the elephant is too small to snatch the chain. But when it grows, it continues to believe that
Cannot.
I cannot. I just can't break the chain. But is the elephant's leg in chains?
No, sir.
No. What is in chains? It is the mind, right? So that's one of the biggest causes of our misfortune. We blame some unseen factor. We blame somebody. We blame God and say, why God has been so cruel to me. But it is not the events. It is my mind which is the cause of the problem. It is the conditioning of the mind. Change the conditioning of the mind, you can see wonders. You can see a huge difference. And there are so many other possible internal causes, conditioning of mind, lack of self-awareness, weak willpower, illusion, enjoyment at the cost of existence, imbalanced life, undisciplined life, incoherence in thoughts, words, and action. Professor Chakravarti was talking about it. So these are some of the reasons why which drag us down, which pull us back. And what we say? We say that we are unfortunate. We are in the grip of misfortune. So we just have to break these internal barriers, the internal causes, the conditioning of the mind, and we'll see a huge difference. So there was a man who came to Sri Thakur and he said, why is God often cruel to many people? Why many people are suffering in this world? Sri Thakur said, son, let's look at this example. Suppose you had gone to a new town, a new place, on some business or some work, right? You go there and somebody told you before you went there that in that town there is a tea shop which serves delicious tea, right? You must go there and have tea there. Sister Thakur is narrating this example. And he says that you went there, you finished your work, then you remember what your friend had told you, that there is a shop there in that corner of the street which serves delicious tea. You wanted to have it. You went there. You were excited. The shopkeeper, the restaurant owner served you tea. You enjoyed it. You were so happy. You were so excited. But you had no knowledge that the restaurant owner, the small restaurant owner, had not cleaned the cup in which he had served you tea, and just before you drank tea in that cup, tea was served to another customer, another client who had a serious disease in him. Very complicated disease. You drank tea in that cup. The infection from that diseased person came to you. You had no idea what's going on. That virus went on becoming more dominant inside you. And you had no idea what's going on inside you. 10 years later, you were infected severely by that virus. You were dying. You were on a deathbed. You were looking at the skies and saying, "Oh God, why did you do this to me? Why did you do this to me? Why have you been so unfair to me? What did I do? All my life I have done only good things. I have never harmed anybody. Why this to me, God? Why?" You say, the cause of your misfortune is the God in the sky. Sister Thakur looked at that young man and said, "Young man, do you believe that God is responsible for your illness? Do you believe so?" The young man said, "No, God is not responsible. I am responsible. I should have been careful. I should have checked. I should not have trusted that man. It is my responsibility. I was careless." So, who is the cause of our misfortune? It's our deeds. It's our karma. But what we do? We blame
Others.
our parents. They did not send us to the best school in the city. We blame our teachers. They did not teach us well. In our corporate world, we always we blame the bosses. We say they're very political. They're unfair to me, and then they really have favoritism towards somebody else. We try and find fault, and then we also say God is responsible. But it's our deeds for which that lead to our misfortune or fortune, whatever you call it. The moment you control that, our actions, we can change our fortune. And that's what Sri Thakur and Chandra says, that you can be in control of your life. In a world that we live in today, where everything is unpredictable, everything is unknown, what's going to happen tomorrow is not known to us. Sri Thakur and Chandra says, you can be in control of your life. You can be in control. He said, there are three things which you need to inculcate. Three abilities that you have to master. If you master these three abilities, you can change your life. First thing he says, control, problem solving, and third is coherence, cohesiveness. It talks about these three things: niyantran, samadhan, samanjasya. Control, solutions, and cohesiveness. If you achieve these three things in life, your fortune is in your hands. That's what he says. Let's understand each one of them. Control. We need to be in control of our life. If we are not in control, if I'm driving a car and I say I'm not in control, I don't know what will happen. Somebody might come and dash against me. I don't know how to, navigate through this traffic. Then my life is not safe and secure. A man came to Sri Thakur. He said, Thakur, nothing is going right in my life. My life is in a mess. It's in a complete mess. I don't even know what to do. I have bad relationship with everybody. My children and my wife, we do not enjoy good relationship. There is paucity of money in my life. Nothing is going right. I don't know what will happen to me tomorrow. Thakur, actually I am scared of life. Look at what he's saying. He's saying, Thakur, I am scared of life because I don't know what's going to happen to me tomorrow. Sri Thakur Nukul Chandra said, son, the man who knows how to swim in the water, is he scared of water? The man who knows how to swim, is he scared of water? The man said, no, Thakur. If somebody knows how to swim, why should he or she be scared of water? Thakur said, the man who knows how to live life, should he be scared of life? The man was quiet. He had already got the answer to the question. Sri Thakur said, but the man who knows how to swim enjoys water. The man who knows how to live life enjoys life. The man who knows how to swim has gone to a swimming teacher to learn how to swim, to learn the techniques of swimming. The man who wants to live life beautifully and meaningfully has to go to a life teacher to learn the techniques of living life. Isn't it? If we really want to enjoy life, we have to go to a guru, a teacher who knows the techniques of living life. We need to find that teacher. Without that swimming teacher, learning how to swim is not possible. Without the music teacher, learning how to music is not possible. Without that mathematics teacher, learning mathematics is not possible. Without that life teacher, the master in life, the guru, living life is not possible. Why does the man enjoy swimming in the water? Because the water is in his control. He has control over water. Why does the man who knows how to live life enjoys life? Because his life is in his control. The first important thing is control. And to gain that control, we need that master in life, the teacher, a guru. Problem solving is the second aspect. If I find solutions to all my problems, why should I worry about misfortune? Right? But I must know how to solve problems. How do I solve problems? To solve problems, I need to understand the root cause of problems. Professor was talking about this. If you have misfortune, if you have mishaps in life, and if you, with concentric devotion and attention, if you go after the cause, if you understand the root cause of the problem, if you understand the consequence of the problem, you will be able to find the remedy of the problem. So, problem solving is the second important ability that we all need to have. The third ability is cohesiveness. What is cohesiveness? Life is filled with contradictions. It's filled with contradictions. The principal sir knows, better than any one of us, right? His management will tell something, his staff will tell something, his team will say something else, the students will say something else. A married man knows it very well. The wife says something, the mother-in-law says something, the children say something. It's all of contradictions and ambiguities. Kya kare? How do we deal with these contradictions? What all that we need to do is we need to bring in cohesiveness. What is cohesiveness? Bringing opposite things together. You might ask, how can you make your wife and mother-in-law and your children happy at the same time? How can you make your management and your, students? And I'm exposing certain truths. You might beat me up later, but it's just the reality of life, isn't it? Contradictions, ambiguities. So if you really want to control your life, then the cohesiveness is important. Bringing opposite factors, integrating them together. How do you do that? Let's look at an example from Sri Thakur's life. Once Sri Thakur and Kulchandra was engaged in a very important discussion in the Jati ashram in Deoghar. Next to that ashram, there was a timber factory, right? And when Sri Thakur was speaking in that ashram, some work was going on in that factory. There was some sound that was coming from the factory. Thuk, 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 thuk. The sound was coming. Sri Thakur was saying something about universe, creation, and lot of profound and deep philosophy that he was talking about. The manager of the factory was sitting near Thakur. He said, what are these idiots in my factory? What are they doing? Sri Thakur is talking about something so profound and deep, and these guys are not even realizing that Thakur is saying something profound. And this noise from the factory is really creating problems. It is disturbing Thakur. He ran away from that place. He went to the factory and he said, look, stop this work now. My guru, Sri Thakur, is now talking about something very profound. Please stop this. When I come back and tell you to start the work, please start. The work stopped. He came back and he found Thakur is sitting quietly. He was not speaking anything. He was surprised. Thakur was quiet, everybody was quiet, and he also was quiet. After some time, Sri Thakur asked, hey, there was some sound that was coming from that factory. What happened to that? The factory manager said, Thakur, I stopped them because you were saying something very profound. And these guys did not even realize the profoundness of what you were saying. I asked them to stop, Thakur, because it was disturbing me. Thakur became quiet for some time. And you know what he said after that? He said, there was a sound that was coming from the factory. And the sound had a tune. And I was speaking. And I was in tune with that sound. Thuk, 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 thuk. And I was speaking, right? The sound stopped. Inspiration within me to speak stopped. See how powerful. Only Purushottam, a true guide, a master, can teach us how to integrate contradictions. How can you make, in spite of all the contradictions that we have in our life, a boss and a team members, right? Friends and family members, whatever contradictions that we have today, how do we integrate all of that? Recently we celebrated the 10th anniversary of Satsang Vihar in Bangalore, and we had general meeting, the spiritual discourse session, and on one platform we had a minister from the local Congress party, we had a leader from BJP, we had a leader from Aam Aadmi Party, and then we had a leader from the Janata Dal on the same platform. How is this possible? When they meet each other, they start abusing each other, fighting each other. But when they come to a platform like this, a unifying platform, they all come together, smile at each other, they coexist. If you achieve that power, what more do you need? If you can have control over your life, if you can solve problems in your life, if you can achieve cohesiveness, integration between contradictions and ambiguities, why do you have to worry about misfortune? Why do you have to worry about it? Sister Thakur Kulchandra says, in the interest of time, I will share this and then I will probably conclude. He says, life is a series of stimuli and response. Impulse and response. Impulse and response. Life is all about that, isn't it? Professor Chakravarti was giving the example of mosquito biting. What is mosquito bite? That is a stimulus. What is a response? The hand goes and drives the mosquito away. Somebody kills the mosquito. Somebody says, I'm a non-violent person, I'm not going to kill it, nor will I drive it away. I will use a mosquito net. Life is a series of stimuli and responses. There is a stimulus, there is a response. All of us, every moment, we receive a stimulus from the environment and we respond. How you respond decides our fortune. How we respond. That is the most important thing. So now the question is, just like we saw, same impulse, mosquito coming and biting. One drives it away, one kills it, one puts on a mosquito net and sleeps. One stimulus, but different responses. So it is the ability to respond appropriately decides your future. So Sri Thakur Kulchandra was sitting, he was having a discussion, he was very engrossed in a conversation with his devotees. One man suddenly came from somewhere. He said, Thakur, দুদিন হলো কিছু খাইনি, বাড়িতে সবাই উপবাসে আছে, কিছু আমরা খাইনি. For the last 2 days we have not eaten anything. We are all hungry, Thakur. Thakur says, look, I become a little irritated. I'm engrossed in a very deep conversation. And here is a man comes from nowhere and says, I have not eaten anything for 2 days. My family has not eaten anything. Thakur is saying, the very next moment, my receptive brain tells me, listen, his needs are greater than yours. My receptive brain. So what do? Then I engage myself in helping that guy. Trying to figure out how to get him food, how can his family get some food, etc., etc. So now I become busy to help that man. He says, look, impulses will keep coming from the environment. Sometimes they'll irritate you, they will make you angry, they will upset you, and you will probably behave irrationally. Remember, life is a series of stimuli and responses. Every moment you will keep on receiving impulses, every moment you will respond willingly or unwillingly. How do you respond? Depends on your ability to receive impulses from the environment, process that and respond to it. Your ability to receive, your receptivity. Sri Thakur Kulchandra says your receptivity. Thakur said, my receptive brain told me that my brain received an impulse, and the receptive brain reminded me that his needs are greater than yours. And then I was, while slightly irritated, I engaged myself in helping that person. Then Thakur gives a very beautiful example. He says, suppose there is a pond, right? And somebody comes and throws a small stone inside that pond, what happens? What happens? Ripples, waves. Sri Thakur says the water in the pond is like your mind. What is a stone? Is a stimulus from the environment. Thakur says the receptive ability of water tries to become normal, tries to make the water normal. Within a few seconds, when there was some chahal pahal, when there was some ripples, waves, the water becomes normal. Because it is the receptive ability of the water. It is this urge, desire to become normal. That makes it normal. Sri Thakur Kulchandra says, your impulses and your response will decide your future, your fortune. Essentially, it will depend on your ability to receive impulses from the environment, positive and negative, collect them, understand them, respond to them. That is something that is going to make the difference in your life. How do you do that? For that we need to have a master guru in life who teaches us how to receive these impulses from the environment and how do you respond to that. Sri Thakur Kulchandra says, name makes man sharp and meditation makes man receptive. Meditation makes man receptive. It makes our brain receptive. And Mr. Nanda was talking about it. He was talking about the power of meditation, but essentially when we practice meditation, it has to be guided by a master, a teacher or guru who has mastered the essence of that mantra. There are hundreds of mantras. Every mantra is powerful. There are hundreds of gurus. Every guru is powerful. But Sri Thakur says in Punyapur, a roasted brinjal cannot roast another brinjal. If you want to roast a brinjal, you need fire. So any good man cannot make you or me good. We need a man in whom goodness, divinity has been manifested, embodied, and materialized. We need to be attached to such a master, such a guru. That attachment makes the difference, because attachment is nothing but concentration, as Professor was talking about. The power, the sunlight is infinite. It is all over, but it doesn't do anything. But when you take a lens and concentrate that sunlight on a piece of paper, it burns that paper. But without that lens, the sunlight cannot burn anything. But the moment you concentrate that on a point, it burns the paper. God's kindness is infinite. Nothing happens unless and until we concentrate on Him, unless we become the point, entity, the life, that His divinity is manifested. That is what awakening mastery is all about. That is what dealing with misfortune is all about. I pray at the lotus feet of my master for your well-being, for your happiness, and all success in life. Thank you very much.